The epic saga of Egyptian pharaohs, 3,000 years of divine rule. In the scorching sands of northeastern Africa, along the life-giving banks of the mighty Nile River, one of history's most remarkable civilizations emerged around 3100 BCE. For 3 millennia, a succession of god-kings would rule this ancient land, creating a legacy that continues to captivate the world today. This is the extraordinary story of the pharaohs of Egypt, rulers who built monuments that still stand, commanded empires that stretched across continents, and established a civilization so enduring that it outlasted the rise and fall of countless other kingdoms. Chapter 1. The Dawn of Divine Kingship, 3100 to 686 BCE. The story begins with a legendary figure known as Narmer, also called Menes, who accomplished what seemed impossible, uniting the fractured kingdoms of Upper and Lower Egypt under a single crown. Around 3100 BCE, this warrior king defeated his enemies and became the first pharaoh of a unified Egypt, establishing the foundation of what would become one of history's longest-lasting civilizations. In these early days, the pharaoh was more than just a king. He was considered a living god on earth, the earthly embodiment of the falcon deity Horus. The concept of Ma'at, the cosmic order of truth and justice, became central to pharaonic rule. Each pharaoh was responsible for maintaining this divine balance, ensuring the Nile's floods came on time, the harvests were bountiful, and chaos was kept at bay. The early dynastic period saw the establishment of Memphis as the capital and the development of hieroglyphic writing. Pharaohs were buried in elaborate mastaba tombs, and the intricate rituals of mummification began to evolve. The stage was set for the golden ages that would follow. Chapter 2. The Age of Pyramid Builders, 2686 to 181 BCE. The Old Kingdom marked the first golden age of pharaonic power. It was during this era that the most iconic symbols of ancient Egypt were born, the Great Pyramids. Pharaoh Djoser revolutionized royal burial practices when his architect Imhotep designed the first pyramid, the stepped pyramid at Saqqara. This architectural marvel demonstrated the pharaoh's divine power and the kingdom's incredible organizational capabilities. But it was Khufu of the 4th dynasty who would create the most enduring monument to pharaonic power. His Great Pyramid at Giza, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, required the labor of thousands of workers over decades. Standing at 481 feet tall, it remained the world's tallest human-made structure for over 3,800 years. During this period, pharaohs ruled with absolute authority. They controlled vast resources, commanded enormous workforces, and were surrounded by elaborate courts filled with nobles, priests, and officials. The pharaoh's word was literally divine law, and entire cities could be built or destroyed at his command. Chapter 3. Chaos and Renewal, 2021-1550 BCE. Not even divine kings could prevent the cycles of rise and decline. The Old Kingdom eventually collapsed due to climate change, civil wars, and economic troubles. Egypt entered its first dark age, known as the First Intermediate Period, where multiple pharaohs claimed legitimacy simultaneously and the unified kingdom fractured. However, pharaohs from Thebes and Upper Egypt gradually restored order, ushering in the Middle Kingdom around 2055 BCE. Rulers like Mentuhotep II and the pharaohs of the 12th dynasty rebuilt Egypt's strength and expanded its borders into Nubia, securing valuable gold mines and trade routes. This period saw pharaohs becoming more accessible to their people, though still maintaining their divine status. Literature flourished, and the concept of the pharaoh as a shepherd of his people developed. However, this stability was shattered when foreign invaders called the Hyksos conquered northern Egypt around 1650 BCE, ruling for over a century and introducing new military technologies like horse-drawn chariots. Chapter 4. The Imperial Age, 1550-1077 BCE. The expulsion of the Hyksos by Theban pharaohs marked the beginning of Egypt's greatest era, the New Kingdom. These pharaohs transformed Egypt from a regional power into a major international empire. Thutmose III, often called Egypt's Napoleon, expanded the empire to its greatest extent, conquering lands from Nubia in the south to the Euphrates River in the north. This period produced some of history's most fascinating pharaohs. Hatshepsut broke gender barriers by ruling as pharaoh for 22 years, commissioning magnificent temples and trading expeditions. She is often depicted wearing the traditional pharaonic beard, symbolizing her adoption of full royal authority. Her successor's son, Akhenaten, attempted the world's first recorded religious revolution, abandoning Egypt's traditional gods in favor of worshipping a single deity, the sun disk Aten. He moved the capital to a new city, Amarna, and ruled alongside his beautiful queen Nefertiti. Though his religious reforms failed, his reign produced some of ancient Egypt's most distinctive art. Akhenaten's son, the boy king Tutankhamun, restored the traditional gods but died young. His intact tomb, discovered in 1922, revealed the incredible wealth and artistry of New Kingdom pharaohs. The golden burial mask of King Tut became one of the most recognizable artifacts from ancient Egypt. Perhaps no pharaoh embodied imperial power more than Ramesses II, who ruled for 66 years. Known as Ramesses the Great, he fought epic battles against the Hittites, signed the world's first known peace treaty, built magnificent temples at Abu Simbel, and fathered over 100 children. His reign represented the pinnacle of pharaonic power and prestige. Chapter 5: Foreign Dynasties and Cultural Fusion, 1077–332 BCE. As the New Kingdom declined, Egypt faced increasing challenges from foreign powers. The Third Intermediate Period saw the country divided among multiple pharaohs, including Libyan dynasties, and, remarkably, Nubian pharaohs who conquered Egypt and ruled as the 25th dynasty. These Nubian pharaohs, known as the Black Pharaohs, ironically became some of Egypt's most traditional rulers, restoring ancient religious practices and building pyramids in their homeland. Their rule demonstrated how the concept of pharaonic legitimacy transcended race and ethnicity. The Assyrians eventually conquered Egypt, followed by the Persians under Cyrus the Great and later Darius I. Persian rulers adopted pharaonic titles and customs, showing respect for Egyptian traditions while incorporating the land into their vast empire. Brief periods of native Egyptian rule, such as the Sate dynasty, attempted to restore pharaonic glory by looking back to the Old Kingdom for inspiration. These rulers rebuilt temples, encouraged traditional arts, and tried to recapture the grandeur of earlier eras. Chapter 6: The Final Dynasty, 332–30 BCE. The arrival of Alexander the Great in 332 BCE marked the beginning of the end for native pharaonic rule, but also initiated one of its most famous chapters. After Alexander's death, his general Ptolemy founded the Ptolemaic dynasty, which would rule Egypt for nearly 3 centuries. The Ptolemies adopted pharaonic traditions while maintaining their Greek identity. They built the Great Library of Alexandria, making Egypt a center of learning and culture. The most famous Ptolemaic pharaoh was Cleopatra VII, who spoke 9 languages and was highly educated in mathematics, philosophy, and rhetoric. Cleopatra's relationships with Julius Caesar and later Mark Antony represented desperate attempts to preserve Egyptian independence through Roman alliances. Her death in 30 BCE, following defeat by Octavian, later Augustus, marked the end of pharaonic rule and Egypt's absorption into the Roman Empire. Epilogue: The Eternal Legacy. For over 3,000 years, pharaohs ruled Egypt, creating a civilization of unprecedented longevity. They built monuments that still inspire awe, developed systems of government and religion that influenced countless cultures, and created art and literature that continues to fascinate scholars and visitors alike. The pharaohs were more than rulers. They were the embodiment of their civilization's highest aspirations. They represented the eternal struggle between order and chaos, the mortal desire for immortality, and the human dream of divine power. From Narmer's first crown to Cleopatra's last breath, the pharaohs of Egypt created one of history's most remarkable stories of power, achievement, and enduring legacy. Today, as we explore their tombs and decode their hieroglyphs, we continue to be amazed by these god-kings who ruled the Nile. Their story reminds us that while empires rise and fall, the human quest for meaning, power, and immortality remains eternally compelling. The pharaohs achieved a kind of immortality after all, not through mummification, but through the enduring power of their incredible story.